Are you struggling with creative blocks and finding it hard to get back into that zone? Then stick around to hear some suggestions on how you might overcome those frustrating barriers that hinder your creativity. Welcome back to Yibble Reviews Everything, and today I take a look at my 20 years of teaching experience that have helped students overcome writer's block in language arts and now apply it to toy photography and other creative endeavors that we might be pursuing in the form of or in the name of art. We're going to be exploring techniques such as mindfulness exercises, brainstorming methods, and the importance of taking breaks in general to rejuvenate your mind. By being able to identify the root causes of your creative blocks, we'll be able to discover proven ways to reignite your passion and productivity. Now, I have way more than the 6 tips that I'm going to be suggesting to you today. However, if you'd like to know more, be sure to let me know in the comments below to see if you want more of these ideas coming. So let's kick things off with number 1. Sleep. I can't stress enough to you how much prioritizing my sleep has positively impacted my life. I've always been a night owl, and while I'm still prone to allowing myself the occasional late night on the weekend to either watch a show, play a game, take pictures, or just veg out and scroll, but I know when I actually get 8 hours or close to it, and even when I go to bed, because for instance, falling asleep before 10 p.m. in 8 hours makes me feel so much different than falling asleep at 2 a.m. and getting 8 hours. I feel such a difference in my mentality and my ability to, of course, still feel my emotions, but regulate them in how I react to them. Creative brain activity is typically highest during and immediately following sleep. Sleep and dreams help build remote links between information, so by relaxing the brain's focus on a problem, it actually makes it easier to then solve it. Even studies have shown that working after a nap provides similar effects, so shout out to my fellow night owls. It's also something I've done before my nightly streams where I'll, as I say to my wife, turn out the lights, even if it's just for 20 minutes, and I'll find myself way better suited to yap about toys afterwards. While it is hard for us working folk to take advantage of the mornings, they are typically the quietest time of our day, and as long as you and myself, as long as we're able to resist checking emails, looking at notifications, turning on the TV, we're able to actually take advantage of that higher brain functionality after a good night of sleep, which is another great way to get the creative juices flowing. Again, speaking for myself, by being a father and having my natural alarm clock with my children, the weekends typically is a great opportunity for me to crank out as many toy photos and setups or even reviews in those early morning hours before I get ready to start the rest of the day and run my errands. So don't sleep on sleep. Number 1. 2. Don't push yourself too hard. Now, first of all, these tips are going to sound like they counteract one another, but you have to remember that these are all just loose guidelines. I'm not the boss of you. So even if just one of these can resonate with you and see if that can get you over that creative hump, then that's all I can ask in this video. I don't know if you've ever heard of the stick or carrot metaphor, but it's essentially that some people require a stick in the horse pulling a cart type situation to get that external motivation, or the carrot, where it could be a softer approach in terms of praise and positive reinforcement that get the best out of you. And as a teacher, as a coach, that's something that I've learned is literally on a person-by-person basis, which approach tends to work best to get the most out of them. And sometimes it's a combination. I know myself, same deal. I would much rather get positive reinforcement. I'm so much more highly motivated to do my best when I know I am making those around me happy. However, those moments of maybe lackadaisical focus or just a lack of drive where I might need a little bit of a fire lit under me to get things going. And again, at the end of the day, when we're talking about creative ventures, it's going to be you that's the boss of what you need to do. So it's how you are going to address yourself in those moments. With number 2, in terms of not pushing yourself too hard, the metaphor is like going to a really fun party. You're having a great time, the drinks are flowing, the dance and the music's playing, and you got the rhythm of the night. But what happens if you stay at that party too long? So this tip is actually in those moments that you do feel super fired up and ready to tackle whatever your project is in front of you. But you do then have to be wary of not pushing yourself to the point of burnout, even when it comes to something that you love. For me, like toy photography. You're cruising along, happy with what you've been producing in your creative space. For me, it might be taking toy photos or making review videos or just videos in general for YouTube. But just like a party that you stick around a little too long, all of a sudden you can start souring on what's been going on. Just in terms of you get tired, you get irritable, quicker to frustration, and you might find yourself getting aggravated. That's going to hurt you the next time out you want to pick up that project or start something new. So next time you're riding that creative wave, be mindful to take those breaks. So case in point, to my citizens of Imbonia who might be watching this video took 3 weeks to finally sit down and record. And that's because I want to give you my best. And sometimes with the time that I have allotted for my creative projects and my videos, if there was something else that was calling to me more, something else might take a back seat. While I don't necessarily think that any of my citizens here were clamoring at the bit for this video, I still personally felt like I was letting the last poll down. And for those of you that were interested, because it wasn't something that I just turned around and put out the following week, but I wanted to give you my best. So it was a matter of doing what I needed to and make some of the other videos that I wanted to make in order to keep all of this fun and enjoyable. Because at the end of the day, I feel like what's going to make this channel and these videos enjoyable to watch are feeling that connection and that energy as you are sitting here watching me talk about it. So just be mindful. I'm sure you've heard the quote that in order to be successful, it takes 10% inspiration and 90% perspiration. So once again, 2 and 3 are both going to feel as though they are counteracting each other. But at the end of the day, you do need to give yourself a work ethic mentality sometimes when it comes to these hobbies and passion projects. Sure, if you're not on the hook for a paycheck and your livelihood isn't at stake, it might be easier to sit back on the couch, find a show to stream, and just chill. Maybe throw on the latest Call of Duty, for instance. But you might need to take a work-like mentality in those moments that you are feeling blah, you're not feeling bleh, bleh. And you might have to kick yourself in the butt and pick yourself up and just start doing the thing in hopes that the rest of the creativity will flow from there. In regards to toy photography, things that have worked for me would be like trying out a new pose, a new photography technique, build a diorama, just anything to get going in the thing that you love, because it's not the hobby. We love these things. So it is just a matter of forcing yourself to get that going, lose yourself in a new project, and then from there, you'll start feeling that inspiration flow freely. Once you're able to break through that mental pain barrier, you're going to be able to enter and hit that flow state. And that's really where we all shine. And now, here's our last 3 tips of this video. Short and sweet. So number 4, it's hard. We are addicted to our screens. These are dopamine factories. We are dulling our dopamine receptors in our brain with our endless scrolling. It's something that we have to be aware of. As great as these tools are for connecting each other, the fact that, again, you're watching me right now on the internet was something that younger me would have never imagined, being able to create all of these different friendships and connections with people around the world, all through our shared love of action figures and toys. But just like anything, it's a flip side. It's a fine line between a useful tool and something that is going to be a detriment. If you're feeling like you want to get the camera out, but I just don't have an idea, just put it down, go back to tip 3, give yourself that work-like mentality, power through, pick one of the things that I happen to mention. Just pick up a figure. Sometimes, and I don't want to fall into this trap either, but I do receive hits of inspiration when a new figure comes in that gets me really excited. However, if you're not in a place where you're able to pick up a new toy, then find something on the shelf, something dusty that needs some love. Get that figure off the shelf, take out the accessories, revisit that feeling of unboxing that toy the first time around, rediscover all the amazing accessories it comes with. And even if you're just posing on your coffee table with the TV on, it's just something that's not our phone, that I feel like is such a time suck, where you start, especially on any of the platforms with endless scrolling, you can lose 45 minutes instantly. So be very aware to avoid those distractions, and again, just focus on something in particular. If you want to use your device in a positive way, look up a photography technique, and that's it. Don't look at notifications. Don't open up any platforms. It takes mental discipline to do that. That's why I want you to be well aware of what these devices are doing to us. 5. You see it right there. Says cold shower. Now, this goes back to number 1 with sleep. Something that I can speak from experience. I have not done any of the ice baths. I haven't done full-blown cold showers. I know I've seen people on social media talk about these things and the positive impacts it can have on our mentality. And it can feel even that overwhelming. Like, who wants to get into an ice bath? I know, I get it. The studies are there. The positive benefits are real, but it is a big step to take. So something that I do is I end every shower I take with 30 seconds of cold water. I go to the coldest setting on there. It is not fun, but it accomplishes 2 things. Number 1, you're starting your day off with a shower, and you do that, you're already breaking down the mental obstacle of I can't. Right off the bat, you are immediately proving to your brain that you can do anything. So from there, as many times as I do not want to, I will let that cold water hit. 30 seconds on my top of my head, on my face, let it run down. It is not fun, but I try to think of myself on the beach. I power through, I do my head count, and then I enjoy the physical benefits, such as the surge in adrenaline that studies have shown can give you longer lasting effects to caffeine for up to 4 hours. And I don't know if it's due to the fight or flight and just the adrenaline surge of hitting that, but I have found that it helps. And that's something that, once again, maybe to shake yourself out of your rut, you might need to give something else a try. I know it worked for me. And number 6, set a deadline. See how these are all loosely interconnected, treating whatever project is laid out in front of you in that work-like mentality. By setting deadlines, you're not only preventing yourself from possibly hitting a level of burnout, but if you are uninspired, you're giving yourself a specific time frame to remove those distractions from your eyesight, from your life at that moment, to focus on just what you're doing at hand. If it comes to toy photography, maybe step 1 is to just set up the diorama, set up the scene, do the lay of the lands, set your time limit. When you hit that, pat yourself on the back, because now the next day you're ready to get the figures you want, maybe get the posing down. But either way, you're breaking it down into smaller chunks until you hit that creative flow state. And then these tips and tricks can kind of blend into the background. So there you have it, everyone. I truly hope one of these, if not all of these, can work for you in some way, shape, or form. If you enjoyed hearing about these, there are so many more suggestions that are out there to help you burst through that brick wall, the brick wall of the unmotivated, the brick wall of the lack of inspiration, the brick wall of wanting to do nothing. These are all things that we all experience by being alive as human beings. I know in previous videos I've talked about, how we are wired in a negative way, and that's just through our evolution. But there are ways that we can beat it. There's ways that we can rewire these computers we have up here. And at the end of the day, you're making something, you're doing something, you're creating something that the majority of people can only dream about. If you are creating more than you are consuming, you are in a very special upper echelon of human beings that have pushed through, and you have not gone quietly into that good night. And the world is a better place for you making your art. So, whether it comes to creative writing, toy photography, YouTube videos, painting, writing poetry, making music, oh my goodness, there are so many ways that we can celebrate this thing called life. So I applaud you for seeking this video out, giving it a shot, and seeing what works. So thank you for checking out this video. And just so you know, every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I go live to talk about life and toys. So I hope to see you in the chat one of these days. And in the meantime, have a great rest of yours now.